Welcome to Your Pathway to the Emirates, our new podcast channel. Here we will explore exciting real estate opportunities across Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and other Emirates in the UAE. Beyond property, we'll also delve into important topics to support anyone considering a move to the UAE, covering schools, tax, visas, company setup, relocation, and lifestyle. Our goal is to provide a comprehensive, one-stop guide that helps you navigate every step of relocation or investment in this dynamic region. Stay tuned for insights that will empower your journey. So let's get started.
So welcome to the podcast. We have Grant here again today, and we're going to talk about the company setup and what the process is, what the steps are, and some questions and answers. So Grant, thank you again for coming on board today, and hope you've been well.
Thank you for hosting me. Delighted to be on here and share some information on setting up a company in the UAE.
So let's ask question and answer on this one. Let's see if this works well for you. So can anyone open a company in Dubai?
The answer is yes.
So foreign nationals, there's no restrictions, or is there certain people that don't qualify?
No, I mean, we've been doing this for the last 11 years. At any particular point in time during the month, we are setting up at least 5 to 10 companies. Some we're just starting with, some we in the middle of, and some we are ending off. So we set up a large variety of clients, companies, from one-man shows right through to multinationals.
Excellent. And I know there's two types of companies you set up: free zone and mainland, which we'll talk about, I think, later on. But do you need a UAE partner? Because that used to be the situation in the past.
Until June 2021, for a mainland company, you needed a 51% local partner, or what was called a service agent. From June 2021, that was eliminated, so you can now set up a mainland license and be 100% foreign owned.
So that's for mainland and free zone.
Free zone was always 100%. That's why free zone tended to be more popular prior to June 2021, because you could set up a free zone license and you could be 100% foreign owned.
Right. There's certain categories, however, that still may require a partner. Is that true? Like pharmaceutical and a few other areas.
There are a few, very limited. Probably only 4 or 5% of the activities out there need a local partner. Something like insurance is an example, and a couple of other activities that need a local partner. But for, I would say, 96% of the activities that are out there, you can now be 100% foreign owned. You can now set up a 100% foreign owned company.
And to set up a company, do you have to be in the country again, or can you be outside?
We can do a lot of the work, the legwork, with the client being out of the country. And as soon as they get into the country, obviously we offer VIP services. We can pick them up and take them to go and get the MOU signed, and then we manage the rest of the process until the license has been issued. But we can do a lot of the legwork while the client is out of the country.
So how long do they need in the country? And they can come in and out if they need to, correct?
Yeah. So for a company setup, you're looking at 2 weeks. Generally,
that's quite quick. Okay.
Generally speaking. But if the client is out of the country, we can probably, if we're doing all the background work and they arrive here and sign the MOU, we can probably get that license issued in a week.
Right. So you can do the background. They come in, spend 1 day there, sign the paperwork. They can leave, and you finish off the work.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But that's just to get the company set up. So some people do this in one go. Some people tend to, based on their timing, set up the company, come back and do the visa. So it really depends on the client's timing and availability. But if it's possible for the client to come in here, get the license issued, and stay to get the visa issued, then they can open their bank account and start trading.
Right. So company setup is one part. Then they're going to have to get a visa in order to open a bank account.
100%.
So it goes in that order.
We can talk to the banks before the visa is issued while the company has been set up. And we do that so that when the client goes to the bank, they're already aware of who's coming to see them and about what account. But they will do stuff in the background, but they'll only really start in earnest once the Emirates ID has been issued to the owner of the business.
Okay, so if you're setting up a business, you have to have a visa?
No, you don't necessarily.
Okay.
You
That's
don't
just open
necessarily.
the bank account.
We have lots of business owners that already have their own visa. Maybe he's a golden visa holder, so he won't need a visa to set up that business. And we have lots of owners that have set up companies and don't get the visa.
And they can still operate, but just...
They need somebody with a visa on that license because there are certain requirements during the course of the year that need to be managed in order for that company to be active. So it is important to have someone with an Emirates ID on that license to manage certain aspects of the license requirements or authorities' requirements during the course of the year.
Is there companies that can do that as well, rather than employing an employee to be a visa holder for that company? Or does it have to be an employee or a director?
It's preferable to be an employee or a business owner. So we encourage business owners and the businesses that we set up or the licenses that we set up for people, they are active licenses that people want to trade in products and services. So 99% of the time they will get a visa or appoint a manager or appoint an employee to get a visa so that they can actively use that business and maintain all the requirements that the authorities have during the course of the year.
Okay. And so how easy is it to open a bank account?
It's a good question. The best way to answer that is clients, every single one of our clients has got a bank account. And the reason that they have a bank account is that we put the right structure in place to make sure that when they apply for their bank account, they have got everything that they need, that the bank will do their KYC on and make sure that that bank account is issued. So every single one of our clients does have a bank account. And that's because we put the right structure in place when we set up that business to make it difficult for the banks to reject that application.
And what are the main banks there, would you say? And would you go with the main banks or would you go with the digital banks?
Well, it's a good question, and it's a difficult question to answer. So let's look at the different banks that we have in the UAE, and there are a lot of them. They each have a different target market. So some of the banks only want to attract high net worth individuals and companies that have lots of transactions and high turnover. And some of the banks are content to open accounts for SMEs. So depending on who the client is, what business they're setting up, and which bank they are looking to go with, we can guide them in the right direction.
Great. It can be a minefield. So again, does that, in terms of what you'd recommend, it could be a digital, it could be a mainstream bank. It all depends on the company itself.
Absolutely. So, we set up large multinationals and the banks are clamoring to get their business. It's easy. For SMEs, we always suggest one of these digital banks in the first year, build up a reputation. And then if at any stage you want to go to one of the brick and mortar banks, that you are able to do that. But these digital banks are good enough, and we have set up a large number of our clients with digital corporate accounts, and they're happy with that.
Right. Okay. Do the directors have to be resident in Dubai, or they don't need to be? They can be anywhere in the world.
They can be anywhere in the world, but we always advise to have somebody on the license with an Emirates ID to meet some of the requirements that the authorities have for those licenses during the course of the year.
But even if they have a visa, they don't have to be in the country to operate this business at all.
No, not necessarily. I mean, as a business owner, you will get what is called an investor visa. You need to be in the country once a year if you want to get that visa.
And then you can be out of the country after that, as long as you've got your Emirates ID and access to the phone for the OTP, I assume.
Yes.
Because that's important. People need to understand Emirates ID is required for everything in the UAE. And one of the main things is not only just the bank account, it's also your phone.
Absolutely.
And the phone's used for the OTP side.
Well, that's changing now.
Oh, good. Okay.
So there's a new regulation coming in from the bank in terms of how they do those OTPs.
Well, that's going to help a lot, I think, because there's a lot of issues with sometimes getting the phone and not having the Emirates ID in time. It could be quite a mission because some of them require an OTP to set up certain things, but you can't get the OTP until you get your phone. There's a bit of a mismatch happening sometimes, I believe.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, I've been in this region for nearly 17 years. And what I've seen over the years is that everything Dubai does for its residents, they try and make it easier year on year on year. So whatever processes they bring into place, it's to make it easier.
And the UK is more difficult year on year on year.
No, everything they do is to try and make things easier to get done.
Well, that's great to hear. Another thing is, I know corporation tax there is around 9% currently, and that's on profits above $100,000, as I understand it, as of current date.
Correct.
That still seems fair to me. I think people are prepared to pay a certain amount of tax if it's fair. Is that looking to change, or is there any other restrictions or anything else we should know about in that situation?
You raise a very good point. We set up, as I say, we at any time during the month are dealing with 5 to 10 incorporations. I have not had one client say to me that they do not want to set up this business based on the corporate tax rate in Dubai. So it's a non-event in terms of one of the reasons for clients setting up an account. It's not a consideration.
Great. And the free zone, however, is 0% if you're doing international business.
Yes.
So it's only for the mainland.
Yes.
Where you've got, and that's only for your tax on the business that's done in the location in Dubai itself.
Correct.
Not the international side.
Correct. Look, free zones certainly have a place. I don't want to say anything too controversial, but we tend to steer our clients towards the mainland if a free zone and a mainland option present themselves as what can be set up. We believe that the mainland is a more robust license. It allows you to have your office anywhere, and any changes that you want to make over a period of time tend to be less expensive. So it's preferable. In fact, our clients, we tend to steer them towards the mainland. We do, however, do a fair number of free zone licenses as well.
So what is the main benefits and what's the pros and cons for each for mainland and free zone? And free zone, you have to set up a business specific to the free zone, correct?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So, for example, you've got Media City, you've got Production City, you've got all types of different cities there, and they're specifically designed for certain licenses for the free zone, or it doesn't matter where you set up your free zone company.
Yeah, look, I think they're marketed that way, but they will take any license that they can get. I need to be careful the way I state this, but just because you're going to go to DMCC, they are geared for specific activities, but they will take other licenses as well. So general.
Unless it's the financial side, which is DFIC, they have to be specific on that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So yes, there are free zones that market themselves to specific activities, and then there are also general free zones. But as I say, we tend to prefer the mainland license. We think that they are more credible. It's easier to open a bank account. That's not to say that there are not any credible free zone licenses or free zone authorities that you can get a bank account with. So they are. The likes of DMCC, JAFSA, DAFSA, DIFC are all free zones that are very credible and not difficult to get a corporate bank account with. But we tend to steer our clients towards the mainland.
So what's the cost difference between them, and is there really an advantage to go for a free zone? You may as well go for mainland, really.
Exactly, and that's why we tend to do most of our incorporations in the mainland, as opposed to a free zone. So if I can use this car analogy that I use frequently, a free zone is like a Toyota Camry. It'll be great for you to drive on the tar roads between home, office, friends, and the shops. A mainland license is like a Toyota Fortuner. It can do everything that the Camry can do on the tar roads, but it can go into the desert as well.
Yeah, so, no, it makes sense, yeah.
Does that analogy make sense?
No, it does. It gives you more flexibility, and obviously the mainland structure of not having Emirati there is obviously just been recent, so it makes more sense to have that now than it ever did in the past.
Absolutely.
So what about the accounting side? So do free zone and mainland have to have accountancy practices there, and it's better to hire a local accountant there to look after that and file the taxes like we have to do everywhere else? Or can that be done from anywhere in the world?
It can be done from anywhere in the world, but the services that are offered, and we offer that service here too, the services that are offered in terms of returns, bookkeeping, tax filing, etc., are relatively inexpensive here. So much better to have someone on the ground doing it for you.
So what does it look like in terms of cost to set up the companies and doing the tax and accounting?
Okay, so there are different CSPs like us that offer different costing or pricing structures. I can only speak about ours. It's one that we've used for the last 11 years, one that works for us, and one we believe is transparent for the client to understand. So generally when you're looking to set up a company, whether it's a free zone or a mainland company, there are four main costs. There's our cost to do all the work and heavy lifting to get the license issued and help with the bank account. Which is a one-off fee. There's the government fee, which is what that issuing authority will charge for that license on an annual basis. The third fee is an office fee. You will need an office for certain requirements in terms of inspections, etc. And that office fee can vary from small office to large warehouse, depending on what each and every client's specific requirement is in terms of commercial space. And then the last fee is the visa fee, and that's for the owner of the business and any employees he may wish to put under that license. So those are the four main fees that you are looking at when setting up a company. They may vary. Excuse me. They may vary from mainland to free zone. The way we work is very transparent in terms of sharing those fees with the clients. So we're not one of these companies, and I'm going to go back to the car analogy, if I may, where I want to buy a new car and I look at the Toyota Fortuner and I decide on buying that, and I pay the salesman the 200,000 dirhams, and he phones me and says, Grant, your Toyota Fortuner has already come to the showroom on Saturday to collect it. And I arrive at the showroom and he pulls the sheet off the Toyota Fortuner and said, here's your car, Grant. And I look, it's got no wheels. And I said, but when I paid you the 200,000 dirhams, I thought that would include the wheels. No, Grant, that's going to be extra. And then you say, well, look, this is not the way I like to do business. Why don't you just give me my money back? I'll walk away and I'll start somewhere else. They say, no, I can't give you a refund because we use some of that money to order the car to get it here for you. And I say, okay, well, how much are the wheels? Well, those are 25,000 dirhams. Well, I suppose you've got me between a rock and a hard place. I'll have to pay you the extra 25,000 dirhams. What you do, he puts the wheels on and you think, okay, great. I now want to drive the car off the showroom floor. And you turn the key and nothing happens. And you open the bonnet, there's no engine. You say, well, where's the engine? Well, it's going to cost you an extra 25,000 dirhams. So your initial perception of what you were going to pay, 200,000, is suddenly up by another 50,000 dirhams. So a lot of the CSPs that play in this market tend to use that pricing structure. We just don't think that it is the correct way to do business with people. So we are very transparent in terms of our pricing.
Oh, you're right, and I appreciate that. Obviously, some people may say, oh, but this company's cheaper, but there's reasons why. And it's better to pay the extra, know what you're getting, and it's done.
There's no hidden fees with us. And I just think it's important that the clients are familiar with that when they start to deal with us. And obviously, you need to be careful in terms of what you edit in and out of this and share publicly. I've got to be careful that I'm not stepping on too many toes.
Yeah, sure.
But look, I see a lot of clients that have either Googled what they should do and gone on their own and find out with the process that they followed that they've landed up with something that's not fit for purpose. And that money is just money wasted. And I get referred clients that have gone down a path that they've either done on their own or been advised upon. And the common things that they say to me, Grant, this landed up costing me a lot more than I expected. Grant, they told me I could do this with this license, and now I can't. Grant, they said that I could get so many visas with this license, and now I can't. So it's important that when you're looking at a service provider to give you the information and to look after your licensing requirements, that you get a reputable CSP.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So a quick question about the office. Do you have virtual offices there that can be used, or maybe you've got a home or a flat and that could be used, or has to be a physical office of some sort?
So it does have to be a physical office, and there are some options in terms of limited access offices as opposed to virtual offices. But if you're looking to set up a mainland license, you cannot use your home as office space. You would have to have a physical office or space of some sort, depending on what type of license you're getting. So there are requirements for offices, stores, warehousing, whatever the case may be. It's not our area of expertise, but if you're looking for a relatively simple license, then a serviced office will generally suffice. The serviced office is needed because there are a number of inspections that are done. The issuing authority will do an inspection and tick a box as part of the requirement of having that license issued, that you have an office. Mohre, which is the Ministry of Human Resources and Emiratization, the visa issuing authority will do an inspection to see that they can issue visas because you have space for those employees. The bank will do an inspection to see that you have a physical office, so they will have the comfort that there is somebody sitting in a chair behind a desk in an office if they need to get hold of somebody. So there are 3 inspections that will happen, so the physical office is a must.
No, that's great. Serviced office are always a good option. And as part of what we do, we offer commercial anyway. So
I like to think, sorry, I'm interrupting you. I like to think that a serviced office is a great way to start. It gives you the opportunity to just bring your laptop to the serviced office and you can get going. And it gives you a year, because the minimum lease requirement is a year. It gives you a year to find out whether you are in the right space in terms of public transport for your staff, close to your suppliers, close to your clients. And if in the first year you find that you need to move somewhere else closer to your clients or set up your own commercial space, you can do that.
Yeah. And obviously we're here to help anyone who wants warehousing or offices.
Absolutely.
And that's easy for us because we've got people on the ground there that look after the commercial side. So that's very interesting. So the other thing is, obviously, from a UK perspective, if we've got a UK company and we're setting up this Dubai company, a lot of people think, oh, no, that's tax-free, that's tax-free. It doesn't work that simply. It means that we've got to look at the non-dom status side of things. And we've also got to understand that if we want to invoice the Dubai company, we have to use a UK company to invoice the Dubai company to get your drawings as such. And those will be taxed at the local tax rate in terms of wherever you're resident.
Correct.
So I think this big thing people pushing out on social media being tax-free, it's not that simple. And people need to understand that.
It's not that simple. And we get asked this question a lot. And we always say to people that are asking for tax advice on setting up a company in the UAE is to say to them, get tax advice from a tax advisor in your home country, whether that's in the UK or anywhere else in the world, because we do not know the tax requirements for each and every jurisdiction. So we always advise clients, even tax advisors here are not familiar with all the country's tax requirements, will advise the person that wants to set up the company, get tax advice from an independent tax advisor in your home country.
Makes perfect sense. And this is exactly what we've done. We are moving both clients and prospective investors over from the UK to the UAE, whether it's relocation, setting up a new company, or whether it's to actually move there. And we have UK tax advisors to help them at different levels depending on their business. To then, first of all, say, this is the route, this is the type of, what you need to do, this type of company you need to open. And then obviously then we take over on the property side, because we don't want them to have a bad impression of the country based on bad advice or not having any advice. So we'd rather they've taken the advice and then we've purchased the property for them at the right level, in the right place, and everything's done nice and smoothly.
I think it's imperative, and you guys obviously do a great job there, but I think it's imperative. I don't pretend to understand the tax requirements in everybody's home country. So always refer them to get tax advice from a specialist tax advisor in their home country.
Excellent.
Before they speak to us.
So thank you for your insight, actually, and I think it's going to be invaluable to people to hear this podcast, and gives a lot of information. So thank you again for your time.
It's an absolute pleasure, and a lot of what we do is education, because there is, as I said earlier, so much misinformation out there. I go back to what I may have said earlier, that when looking to set up a company in Dubai, Google is not your friend because of the amount of misinformation out there. And secondly, I say to people is, if your friend has a business in Dubai and is suggesting you to follow a path that may not necessarily be the path that you should follow. For an example, if I have a business in Dubai and I sell pencils, and my friend wants to set up his business in Dubai and he's going to be offering IT services, they may be very different licenses, very different jurisdictions, and very different requirements. So it's always important to speak to a company like us so that we can guide you down the right path, and also with impartial advice.
No, I agree with you totally. It's the same with property. One person's ideal property is not somebody else's. That's why we're here to help.
I agree with you 100%. It's a real bugbear of mine. In fact, I posted on LinkedIn recently that it angers me that I deal with at least 2 or 3 clients every week that have gone down the wrong path unnecessarily, either because they've tried to do it on their own or because they've been given the wrong advice and spent money unnecessarily, and then come to us to see if we can fix it. And sometimes we can, but sometimes we can't, and that money needs to be written off as school fees.
Well, thank you for your time. It's been really valuable.
I'd love to be able to do this again. There's so much information that needs to be shared with people out there to make sure that they make the right decision.
Well, we'll make sure people follow us and do that, because I'm sure we're going to have more sessions with yourself and go into more detail.
Well, we'd love to.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Your Pathway to the Emirates podcast. We believe that by staying connected with our podcast and social media channels, you will gain valuable knowledge and stay abreast of the latest developments that may be of interest to you, whether you are an investor, enthusiast, or professional in the industry. Do drop us an email on info@elevation88.com if you wish us to cover any particular topics. So please follow, subscribe, and stay tuned for our upcoming episodes and updates as we continue to bring you engaging and informative content.